On Erik ten Hag, there is an addition to this story this morning. We saw Cristiano walking off the pitch yesterday, down the tunnel with 5 minutes to go. It was worse than that. He actually walked out of the ground. He didn't wait in the dressing room, which I suppose is actually very logical. I think Laurie Whitwell has released this morning from The Athletic. I mean, it would have been very odd for Ronaldo to decide to get up, walk off, and then sit in the dressing room and go, well done, everyone. I mean, it's very clear when you make that decision to walk, you better go and walk to your car and drive off as well. So massive statement of intent by Ronaldo there. Massive levels of hypocrisy as well. I want to get into this, but I want to start off from the very start and say, that's massive what happened last night. And the starting point has to be, even though, look, I always say this, we live in a world where people live in extremes. I think something's either brilliant or it's crap. And the world actually operates in between. There's a few things that have irritated me, but the first thing I want to say is that the starting point has to be, that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. It doesn't matter who you are, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Pele, you can't do that. I know you're the greats of the game, but you can't do that. It's disrespectful. It sends the wrong message to, people who idolise Ronaldo. It is petulant. I wouldn't say I agree with it. I understand elements of it, and we'll get into that in a minute. But it's totally unacceptable, and that has to be the starting point. What I haven't seen is enough people actually who didn't see this coming. We were talking about this on the watch along last night and how it was a power play even before it happened. It's a power play. I don't think Ten Hag expected that, but I think he was pushing the button for it. I think he was pushing it. And I think you have to do that as a manager. I've got no issue with Ten Hag. 100% back him. But let's not pretend that this is a shock. I'm seeing stuff last night and it's amazing me. But I want to start off from the point that it's not acceptable. And I've not heard anybody say it was acceptable. What I have tried to do, and I'm going to do on this show, is talk about why it's happened. And more importantly, the solution. Because I think we live in a world where I don't know whether you've seen the clip. I haven't seen Sky Sports bloody expert panel for years. Bloody hell. I mean, they fell off. They fell off big time. Danny Mills and Lee Hendry trying to tell me that Ronaldo's behaviour is unacceptable. Who are you? You're not United fans. I mean, fucking hell, as if you were ever going to get up off the bench on your career and storm off. You're nobodies. Unless you've walked in the shoes of being a world great, don't start talking about whether a player should or shouldn't do it. I've not been a player. They certainly haven't been a player at that level. So I'm a little bit bored of the sensationalist stuff already, because what's the solution? Two things. Why did it happen? And what's the solution this morning? Because I'm a little bit bored of the playing for likes. Gabby Agbonglahor on TalkSport last night. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Of course it's... Well done. Like a clapping seal. Well done. Somebody's realised it's unacceptable. I don't think anybody said it was acceptable. Of course it's unacceptable. But can we move the conversation on to why it happened and what happens next? Because I think it's the end for Ronaldo at Manchester United. But I think people are waking up this morning going, I can't believe it. He's walked down the tunnel. Oh, it's unacceptable. Disgrace. Yeah, all right, well done. We moved past that the minute it happened. We all know it's unacceptable. What we need to talk about why it's happened, major levels of hypocrisy. I believe 100% there is one person to blame for this, and it's not Ronaldo. It's the Glazers, who are, for me, one entity. But, I even had people saying to me last night, if Maguire did that, you'd be going mad. And I'm like, but you know what? Of course we would. If it was Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, everyone would go mad. Of course they would. But what Ronaldo has done, even in his petulance and unbelievably bad behaviour, he's gone and done something that very few people can do. Can you imagine Harry Maguire going after 5 minutes, with 5 minutes to go, I've not been subbed on, and walking off? He'd get laughed out. He would though, wouldn't he? You've got to be... I think it's completely unacceptable, but you've got to be a certain level of player to even think about it, let alone do it. That walk, I've done it. That walk from the dugout to the corner it's a lonely walk, and it's a long walk. And we've got a unique ground at Old Trafford. Most dugouts are right next to the tunnel. You would barely even notice it. So to even think about it, to even do it, you've got to be a certain level of player. So, look, it's laughable to think that Luke Shaw or Harry Maguire or Bruno Fernandes could even do that. You've got to be a certain level of player to do it, of course. But look, that don't make it right. And as I said last night, that was premeditated. A cry for help. You know what? I want to get into that as well. I actually do think that Ronaldo's still got the power here. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I think he has got the power, and I think he's made a decision to do that. Obviously, it's premeditated. He's thought it through, and I think he's done it. And I actually think, in a weird way, he's still got the power at the club, because I think the club have messed up big time. I think Ten Hag is 100% right, and I back Ten Hag on this. I don't agree with what Ronaldo's done, but I do understand elements of why he's pissed off. I think the situation should have been solved in the summer. But do you think we could see a Keane-style exit, says Gary? I think it's over. And I think, realistically, all I'm interested in is United fans. You know, whether it's an ex-United player, whether it's you. I'm not interested in what Gabby Bonglahor's got to play, or some shit Poundland panel on bloody Sky telling me it's a disgrace. Who are you? You're not United fans, and you're Poundland footballers. I've got no interest in what you've got to say, because all you're really doing is, it's unacceptable. You're not even fans of the club who, will be emotionally attached to it. So I've sort of moved past that very, very, very quickly. I moved past the whole, I can't believe he's done it and it's unacceptable. Because where does that take us? Like, yeah, we all know it's unacceptable. What happens next? Throughout my life, and probably the same for you, if somebody's left the tap on, if my daughter's left the tap on in the bath and I'm downstairs and I'm getting a shower, there's that initial, what a prat, why have you left the tap on? Oh, I went off to listen to some music. Wow, I'm not going to keep talking about, for the next 3 days, walking, why'd you leave the tap on? The damage is done. So I'm looking at solutions now. I'm in the Yellow Pages. I'm looking for the plumber. I mean, if anyone uses the Yellow Pages anymore. And I think that's where we need to go now. We need to go to the solutions, and we need to go to the causes. What's actually happened has happened. Well done for beating the pub team. Ronaldo come to Arsenal, says Zane. Could be a power play from Eric Ten Hag against the board to bench Ronaldo because he didn't want him and the club didn't let him go, says Joshua. 100%. I want to talk about that. Ronaldo's been disrespected on so many levels here, says Alexander. And Sir Alex didn't ask Beckham why he acted the way he did. No one is bigger than the club. Always loved Ronaldo, but that's disrespectful. Yeah, RM. I mean, I respect your chat, but I sort of want to move on from it. Just chanting at me that it's disrespectful and it's out of order. Well done. I think we've all accepted that. But are we going to move on to what happens next? Or are we going to be the idiots that live on these bloody stupid fucking social media forums where everything's good, everything's bad, everything's good, everything's bad? We've got to be better than that. We've got to be better than that. We have to be better than that. We're Manchester United. We can't just keep moaning. I don't want to see Gary Neville going, we're Manchester United. You can't do that. It's disrespectful. Even Gary Neville's going to move on. I'll tell you what's interesting, though. I haven't seen anybody come out and actually talk about what we're going to talk about now. In the sense that what has happened is unacceptable, but there's layers to this. There's hypocrisy, actually. There is hypocrisy. What we're understanding is that Ronaldo last night... look, the background to this story is this. Recent background, everyone's got a picture with Ronaldo, 700 goals. Came on against Everton, on the bench again. Martial starts, injury and unreliable. Ronaldo comes on, wins us the game. Ronaldo's looks good, best he's looked all season. Everything's positive, pictures with 700 goals. Everything looks good. Plays against Newcastle, gets 0 service, gets subbed off. Not happy to get subbed off. I think Ten Hag did last night. Team plays well without him. Could have brought him on for the last 10, 20 minutes. Doesn't. Tells him to warm up and let's put Salanga on. That's a manager, 100%, showing Ronaldo who the boss is and basically humiliating. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no...